Happy Sabbath.
Happy day.
There was this little girl, she was called Amma. When she was 8, she was raped by her stepdad. The mother was busy going to other markets, district markets, to sell her wares. So she mostly left the girl in the care of the husband, that is the stepdad. And this man took advantage of this 8 years Amma. Amma was afraid because the stepdad wanted her never to disclose it to anybody, or else she's going to die. So she kept it in herself. She grew up, she went to university, she was gainfully employed, but she was still affected by what she went through, the rape, because it was reoccurring for about 8 years to 15 years, 18 years, until she decided that when she went to university, she was not coming back home again. She stayed there and she goes away with her friends when it's on semester break. She got married and she was having issues with intercourse because whenever the husband touches her, she fridges. She was now termed as an ice princess. And this, we have Ali too. Ali was verbally abused by the wife constantly because he was not economically good. Financially, he was not being able to provide for the family. So the wife verbally abused her. And you know, men are attached, their ego, men have ego. Yes, so financially, if you're not able to provide for your family, it's not so cool for men. But the wife continued to abuse her verbally, calling him a useless man. So it got to a time that he realized that, okay, he was of no use. So he decided that he would end it all. He would take his life and then he would just meet his maker. And there was this Fatima, a Kaya girl. She was raped when she came to Accra. She was verbally abused by people she carried their staff. And the market women also abused her verbally, physically, and all that. She has experienced a loss. The mother passed when she was young, so she knows how it is to lose a dear one, to be alone without somebody you love. She was taken away from her familiar environment, her community, to Accra by a distant uncle. She got here and she was left at the mercy of the market, so she's now a Kayayi. Today we are talking about trauma, hope beyond trauma. So for Amma, for Ali, for the Kayayi girl, do they have hope? Is there hope after the traumatic experience they have experienced? First of all, let's open our Bibles to Isaiah 41 verse 10. Isaiah 41 verse 10. Please, if you have opened it, you can read it for us. Isaiah 41 verse 10. How that?
Alright, so Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Amen.
Amen. So the Lord is telling us that we should fear ye not, He is with us. He's going to uphold us with His righteous right hand. We all know that our right hand is very powerful because we do most of our activities. The right-handed people do most of our activities with our right hand. So if the Lord is saying, I'm going to uphold you, not with my weak left hand, but rather my strong right hand, that means God is close to you whenever you need Him. So you might ask, what is trauma? What is trauma? Trauma, when you... Trauma, when we talk about trauma, is an emotional response to a terrible event. An emotional response to a terrible event. That is from the American Association of Psychologists. So, an emotional response to a terrible event. So, any event that you go through, not all events, but events that have great impact on your life. It might be little to you, it might be little to somebody, it might seem little to somebody, but if it's having impact in your life, if you are going through stress, that is what we call trauma, an emotional response to a terrible event. So whenever you lose a loved one, a father, a mother, a sibling, somebody close to you pass on, you get emotional, you weep. Some people will weep, some people will go to denial. They will deny it. Whenever you encounter trauma, first is denial. Is it true that my dad is gone? My husband, no. So you see that people be asking, no, he's not dead. He's sleeping. Wake him up for me. So you get to the anger stage. You become angry. Why are you supposed to die? God, why? So you tend to be God, Habakkuk, asking a lot of questions. Why this, why that, why that? Then you come to a time that you connect the situations, whatever happened, to the reality that, yes, it's true, he's gone. So I must make amends with my life. But it's not everybody who is able to accept that, yes, this is what has happened, so I must make amends with my life. Some people still stay in the denial stage for a long period of time. Some people also stay in the anger stage for a long period of time. So that is where we say that you are experiencing what? Trauma. If you stay in that stage for a long period of time, we say that you are experiencing traumatic what? Experiences. And let's talk about some of the events that can cause trauma to you. We talk about rape, we talk about loss of a loved one, an accident, natural disasters, and heartbreak. You know, I add the heartbreak because most people don't attach seriousness to it. Yes. But it's very serious.
Broken heart, yes.
Yes, broken heart.
Yeah.
It's very serious. Some people commit suicide because of that. Most counselors cross it out. But if you have had any encounter with broken heart, you know that it's very severe. If you don't take it, you can read the book Genesis to Revelation looking for answers. Those they prefer time. And some also go on rebound relationship, just be with people and all that. So heartbreak is also an event, a traumatic event that can happen in your life. Then we talk about natural disasters. Natural disasters, we are talking about earthquake, tsunami, fire outbreak, anything that is out of your control, but it happened. You witnessing an earthquake, you witnessing a fire gushing out of somebody's building, realizing that your friend was there and is burnt to ashes. It leaves a mark in your mind. So whenever you see any fire, you just feel like, no, you just want to go away. You just want to quench that fire. That is an example of natural disaster. Then we talk about an accident. The accident, mostly, people just take the natural occurrences of vehicular accidents and all that. But there's far more to it than that. You see, now we're in the social media hype and everything. So sometimes when this WhatsApp group, that people place sensitive things on it, accident scenes. So accident is not you just witness it firsthand, but sometimes you having what? A secondary what? Information about it. People just place things in our WhatsApp group or send things, forward things to us without them what? Taking how emotionally strong we are into consideration. Because some people, if you give them that that kind of news without any viewer discretion is allowed and they watch it, they go to sleep and realize that they're having nightmares. Some people can't even close their eyes because when they sleep, all what they see is darkness. All what they see is a reoccurring of whatever they saw. So it's also best that if we're sending anything, you should make a note under it, viewer discretion. Maybe this scene one, so that if I'm not too comfortable with that, I might delete it or I might skip it to the next one. The loss of a loved one, they have already talked much about it. You losing somebody you love to death or to distance. Sometimes somebody you love so much, you have this close connection with. Due to transfer of one or two reasons, the person moved out of your reach. Maybe from Ghana to abroad. Maybe from just Accra to Kumasi. So when you come to church, it's now you are alone. She was your bestie, but now you are alone. So you having to deal with all that. Maybe you were the antisocial type, you are the introvert type. It takes you a whole lot of time before you can be able to make friends. And it took you a lot of years before you connected deeply with this person. And out of the blues, the person just left to a different part of the country, different part of the world. So this, when there's a loss of a loved one, not just through that, you feel that you become overwhelmed with emotions. You can't cry, you can't complain to people. They'll tell you that suck it up. You are being too whammy. But sometimes you need to let things out. When you lose a loved one, especially the men, don't cry, men too, and all that. Mostly it's not the best. You need to just wail. If we deal with grief differently, some people will go to the denial, as I said. Some people will just be quiet about it, mentalize everything, and that is not the best. Some people will realize that those who will mourn and shout and everything, at the end of the day, they'll give me food to eat. They eat, they bath, they are okay, they are able to sleep well. But the ones that are doing hard body, the night, you see them crying, they they are the ones crying. So human beings, as we are, emotions, you can't cover them up. It's like volcanic, it's going to erupt into your face. So when you lose a loved one, it's best to talk about it, it's best you cry, don't just hold everything in. Because emotions, sometimes it becomes difficult to control. Then we go to the 3 types of trauma that we have. We have the acute, we have the chronic, we have the complex. When we talk about the acute trauma, we are talking about just you having once encounter with trauma. Maybe a rape, maybe an accident, a gushing accident, maybe a broken heart once. That is just what? Acute. It was what? Just once. And with acute, some of the signs that you see is panic. You panic because of the accident. You see what the blood, dead bodies and all that. You panic. You don't know what to do. Whether to run, whether to walk. You see, that is the adrenaline becomes high. So you lose the sense of what? The mind. You can't think. All the energy is pumped in your arms and your legs. That is how God functions the body. God is a great architect. So you realize that this stage, you need to what? Do something. Do action. It's not the time that I'm going to think. Should I run? Should I walk? Should I run? So God pumps all the energy. The blood goes into your hand, into your leg. So it enables you to have that energy that to what? Run away from what? Danger. So the panic is you don't know what to do. You are anxious. You don't know what to turn left, to turn right. So one thing is, for the acute one is panic. So the child, if it's a rape situation, you see that the child, anytime somebody gets close, she starts to quail back. Even when you try to tie the person, you don't want to molest the child, but the person like just want to what? Draw away. It means that the person has had an encounter with what? Acute what? Trauma. Irritation. And when you talk about irritation, like people, it's difficult for them they get irritated by little things. Things that is supposed to be just, oh, I'm just, there's some, maybe a dusty, I'm just, why do you have to do that? They always have problem with certain things. It's not you. It's not because of what you are doing. It's an experience that they have had that is making them respond the way they do. So irritation, then confusion. They can't make between what happened. There's lapses. You see, sometimes, because you want to overcome whatever we went through, the mind sometimes, the story, when we're talking about it, whenever they ask you, Amma will ask you, you say A, different person will ask you, are going to say what? B. You are confused. Whatever occurred, so you see that accident scenes, when the reporters ask them, the same person will say this, the next time they ask a different reporter, the person is going to say a different thing. It's confused. So whatever you experience, because of how traumatic it is, you can't even, the mind can't even form, can't give you the exact details of what happened. So that's why you need a counselor to help you. Then aggressive behavior. It's either the person becomes timid or the person becomes very aggressive. So people that you see that they are very aggressive, a little bit of things, they have this emotional outburst, they have temper, it's because they have come with what? An emotional what? Trauma. They have some traumatic experience in their life that they are dealing with, or they are in denial. They don't want to accept it. So a lot of people are going through a lot. So you have to be kind. Most people will not tell you what they are going through. They don't even accept it, that is what they are going through. So whenever you are talking to somebody, the person is being aggressive and all that, don't write the person off. It might not be you. The root cause is themselves. They can't handle themselves, so they mirror everything to you. So we go to the chronic one. When you talk about chronic trauma, we are talking about you having, it's acute once, but it's what? It has reoccurred what? Again. So a rape, but not once, maybe twice, thrice. So it's become what? Chronic. An accident not once, twice, thrice. So that is what's chronic. That is anxiety. Anxiety. When you talk about anxiety and depression, they are two sides of what? The table. When you talk about anxiety, it's about you being anxious, you being wanting to know what will happen in the future. But the Bible tells us that it's only God who knows the future. We can't even add what? I don't know how the English puts it. So, yeah. So the Bible admonishes that we should not overthink. God is in control of everything. So anxiety is you being anxious of tomorrow. that, okay, this accident happened, so it might happen again. This person raped me, so if I visit this guy and I'm alone, somebody can also rape me again. That is you being what? Anxious of what is going to happen tomorrow. Then when we talk about depression, it's you staying in the past. So you have the past, we have the future, we have the present, which is a gift. But if you try to live in the past too much, it means you are depressed. You are still living in the past, you don't want to continue, and you are making the events of the past that you can't change weigh you down. You get sick, you live in there, things that you can't change, people that you know that no matter what you, they are just gone. You should let it go, but still you are living there. That is depression. When you talk about anxiety, it's you being in the present but thinking about what future things, which is not the best. Today is the present, so you need to enjoy today as much as possible. Then we talk about complex anxiety. When we talk about complex anxiety, we are talking about mixture of everything. So the acute, now it's been toward chronic, that is reoccurring. Now when we talk about complex, it's been reoccurring, it's there for months, and it's not just once. When you talk about acute, it's just maybe rape, just one type of trauma that you are dealing with. The chronic is one type of trauma, but it's reoccurring. But when you talk about complex, somebody who has been through a lot, maybe rape, an accident, loss of a loved one, everything, a full from mixture. So that person, you realize that the person needs a lot of help. And I'm saying the person, but mostly what I'm saying, you can identify yourself there. So we need what? Help. So sometimes, let me talk about the complex. When you hear about complex trauma, complex anxiety and all that, you think it's something that is far-fetched, but it's just within our reach. Let me use myself as an example. When Mrs. Accra gave me the topic to treat, I was like, this lady wants to step on my toes, so she wants to step on my toes, so you get it. The complex one, when I finished university 2010, my dad, I had one uncle which was very close. I never knew anything about him. He passed in May before me writing my last exams and graduating. So it was a very tough for me, and UCC, you know how they can be. So doing thesis and your members don't want to help you and all that, you going in with the financial constraints and everything, I was quite not stable. But through God's grace, I was able to graduate. I came home and July 25th, my dad was sick. We rushed him to Konfanochi Hospital. We were all praying that things will be well and he will be what? Healed. Then on Saturday, we visited him. That is the 31st. We visited him and everything was cool. And so the doctors assured us that Sunday early morning, he's being released. So we should just come and pick his stuff and go. They are processing his documents. My mom went there 5 o'clock, and by 6, we heard her wailing and shouting, and people were coming to our house and everything. Master, whoa, Master, whoa, Master, whoa. I was like, wow, Master is not dead. We were with him at the hospital. He was there. We were talking to him. He said we would drink malt. So what's this? I tried calling the doctor. The doctor was not picking. I called, nobody was picking. So I was like, is it true or he's not dead? So that incident, so before coming home, I've already had some traumas that I'm not able to get over it and all that. So I was like, oh, it's go away. This is just one of these things. Then my dad passing also added. And not just he passing, but I realized that my elder sister was away, she can't come. My younger brother was in school, he can't come. My immediate sister who was with me is also pregnant, so she can't also do much. And my mom is the one mourning, so she can't also do anything. So, and we are not from Kumasi. We have families who need to come, and it's like now you are telling them before they will arrange and come and all that. So you need to be the chiame, cook for people, do everything. So I was not allowed to mourn. So I was being the strong one. So I go to the market, buy everything, and when it was time to go for the coffin, I'll go and check the coffin, the writing on the coffin and everything, his dresses and everything. So I realized that I was taking a lot of burden on my shoulders. I was not crying, and people were saying, you were strong, you were strong, you were strong. And I was like, hey, if I don't do it, who will do it? So I wake up, cook and everything, and go and check on the funeral things, the food and everything. So after burying him, we went to our hometown. When even he was being bathed and everything, I was the one they asked, so I'll go and bring this attire, I'll go and bring the things and all that. I was quite depressed, I was not able to sleep. So I'll just sleep about 3 hours and I'll wake up. I'll just pray and sit down and take a novel. I like reading, so I'll take one of my novels and read. I read a lot of novels during that time because that was the only thing that was helping me to pass those traumatic experiences I was going through. I never knew what it was, but I thought that maybe people were crying, so it was getting to me. We had the funeral done and everything. I realized that when I'm with my peers and you start talking, just a little thing you say, I'll start crying. You have not hurt me. So sometimes like, hey, you like crying too much. And I was like, what this person said is nothing, but why am I so being weepy? Everything I'll be weeping. And sometimes I'll go and bath and they'll be playing those sad songs and I'll cry. I was like, what's going on? So when I come to church and preach and they'll say anything, I'll be sitting down crying. I don't want people to see, so I'll be like, snuffing all that. I got married and it became worse. And a little thing I start crying. I was like, why you? I thought you were mature. Why do you like crying? Everything you cry. Then I realized that I had a friend who was into psychological things. So I was talking to her like, now it's like I can't contain my emotions. It's either I cry or become angry over things that are not necessary, things that I know that this is nothing. Why should I be so angry and so just work out on things? Then he told me that no. When I told him everything, he said, because you suppressed that your emotions during that time, nature is having a way of taking it all out. So it's better you go through a therapy, and it's really helped. So what we are discussing here, you might think it's far-fetched from you, but it's a real thing. You might have an acute one, you might have a chronic one, you might have a complex one. Yours might not be rape, but you might have experienced an accident scene, maybe through WhatsApp, as I say. So whenever you close your mind, you picture whatever goes on. And when you talk about complex, one thing is they have difficulty in sleeping, as I was saying. You can't sleep for more than 5 hours. You wake up. So you see some people, they sleep around by 12, they are still online. And we say that we are night people. We are lying. We have issues sleeping. We are not night people. So when some people are at 9 o'clock, they are sleeping. You say, hey, you like sleeping, or you wake up, Netflix crash, when you are sleeping. They have issues sleeping. And that, if you don't treat it, you don't talk to a therapist, it can land you into serious depression because you are not sleeping. And you are internalizing all your emotions, which is not what's helping. Then we talk about, then you have the feeling that nothing is safe. You feel that nothing is safe depending on your trauma that you experience. You feel that nothing is safe, so whenever you are at home, you try to you go and check all around, you check the taps, you check the gas, you check everything. You are not comfortable, you are not relaxed. It's like you are stiff. And we talk about, you become what? You have temper. You become angry. So people who are who have issue with anger, sometimes, as I say, it's not all about you. So if you go to the workplace, you are church, your husband, your wife, a little thing, the person gets so annoyed and all that. Sometimes it's coming from within. You are just an outlet to that anger that is burning what's deep inside her. They are paranoid. They think strangely. I have a friend who went to a car meeting, we were all sitting, I was like, she asked me, I was like, hey. So all this, that's what you are thinking. So when I became a counselor, I realized that some of the things that your friends will say, your colleagues will say, it's sometimes we just laugh over it, we take them as a joke, but it's something that they are telling you. So if you are here, you must pay close attention to your child. Your child might be harassed, must be sexually exploited, but the child can't tell you this. The signs are always around. So if you look closely, you'll be able to detect it. And you have people who want to be alone. They feel like I don't need anybody. I'm okay. They're antisocial. They always want to be inside, to be indoors. God never created us that way. He created, we are social beings. That is why for weeks, if you don't get anybody talking to you, you feel like you are not easy. You come to church and you are so happy because we are being created to interact with each other. So if you see that you are isolating yourself too much, you are living in your mind instead of living out. That is not good. We have people who live in their mind. They go to the mall in their mind. They sing in their mind. They are living in their mind. That is what is going on. They are always on their phone and everything. They have written a lot of books in their mind. When you start to talk to them, whenever they open up, you say that they have a lot to say because they are living in their mind, and it's not the best. It leads to what? Depression. So if you decide that I need to be alone, I need to be alone, I need to be alone, it's not the best. And as I said, they are workaholic. Because they find no interest in social relations, they try to push everything into work. So they finish this task, they are on the next task. They finish this task, they're on the next task. They can't relax, they can't enjoy life. Because they find that whatever is eating them up is not giving them the chance to what? Enjoy life as it is. They are rigid, they are not flexible. And mostly they have suicidal thoughts. So if somebody says, "Me want an answer," don't just take it lightly. Talk to the person. Why do you think if you die, then everything is ended? What's going on? Take time to talk to the person. If you realize that what the person is saying is quite alarming, you just need to call 911, emergency line, and they are going to respond to you, or just report to a police station or a medical center. They are going to help the person. Because a lot of things go unnoticed. Many people pass and they say it's maybe drug overdose and all that, but it's suicide. So if the person is also giving this suicidal thought and saying suicidal messages and all that, some people, they come to Facebook and all what they write is depressing things and all that. If you have their contact, it's best you talk to them. Some people just need people to talk to them. Some people want you to hear their side of the story. It's better to reach out to people. And if you are close, you are in the same parameter with them, it's best to remove any harmful objects. Maybe drugs, sharp metal, anything that person can harm him or herself with, so that the person can be safe. And most of the times, these people are what? Drawn to highly unavailable people. Yes. So if you always love people that you know that the person is married, the person can never be yours, but you are deeply in love with the person. You know the person is a Muslim, and the two of you can never get married, but still you are deeply in love with them. Sometimes it's because the person lacks love. And lacking love and attention is also part of a complex anxiety. And when we talk about this person always being in love or chasing people who are unavailable, it's mostly when the children are from 0 to 15 years. That is where this complex, if you don't treat it. So sometimes you be in a house, you think you love your child, you are showing all the care, but you are not making the child feel loved. If you don't make the child feel loved from 0 to 15 years, they tend to be attached to people who can't be there for them. That is the dangerous kind of love. So if you have any child from 0 to 15 years, that is critical. Don't expose the child to any negativity. Love them as much as you can. Because as human beings, God created the world out of love. So when they are young, it's love that we use to nurture these young ones. So love them, spend time with them. We have 5 languages of love. If I've read the book. 5 languages of love, and how we want love is different. Some want it through touch. If you touch them, so the same thing applies to your child, not just their spouse. So please, if I've not read that, read it. If you're a parent or you are just to get married, so that you'll be able to know how to deal with everybody, anybody you meet. Some people like their love language is when you tag them. So if you have a child and you identify that the child always wants to get close to you, it means that child's love language is touch. You buying the expensive toys for the child is not going to fly. They want you to cuddle them. They want you to hold them. They want you to just pop their chins out and laugh with them. That is what makes them comfortable. Some also want things, affection through when you buy them items. So when you go out and you are coming in, you buy them toffee and all that. Hey, mommy loves me. Daddy loves me. The same thing applies to your spouse. Some like to be hugged. Some also like to hear the words of affirmation. You are beautiful. You are loved. You are enough. You are my first. You are my end. So if your child is not having these experiences, and mostly our mothers never knew this, all what is go to school come. So if we are not careful, you are just going to groom a child who will be always chasing people, men, women who are not available for the emotion, they can't be with them. And it's going to cause a big issue. That is also another thing to discuss. It's a psychological thing altogether. We'll discuss another time. And we talk about people, they hate who they are. So they don't accept who they are. They always want to be like somebody else. So they always see pictures on Facebook, pictures on Instagram, and they want to look exactly as that person. They don't feel comfortable in their own skin. So if you tell them you are looking beautiful, it's like, hey, is that true? Are you mocking me? Because they don't accept who they are. They think others are better than them. That are all signs of what? Trauma, because they feel like I was not okay. That's why this guy left me. I was not good enough. That's why my parents don't love me. I wasn't good enough. That's why among all these girls, I was the one that this guy raped. I wasn't good enough. It seems sometimes I'm not the one. God does not love me. Why am I going through all this? So these are all signs of complex trauma. And how do you cope with this? Before we come to how to cope with this, one thing is, if you are not able to handle the complex trauma all the traumatic experience that you have, you are going to end up with PTSD. PTSD, that is post-traumatic stress disorder. So you are going to relive the trauma whenever something of that sort happens to you. That is post-traumatic stress disorder. And a lot of people have it. When you talk about 100 people, you get about 70 people having post-traumatic stress disorder. Mental health issues are very important. And most people have mental health issues. And there's nothing shy. You need not to be shy if you have mental health issues. It's not just you going psychosis, you being nuts, that makes that you have you need a psychiatric attention. You just feeling afraid, having issues with anger, you weeping unnecessarily and all that, complaining a lot. You need a counselor. You need therapy. Something is wrong somewhere. You need somebody to help you to fix that. So when we talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, all what we mean is you have had the trauma, but you are now reliving it. You had an accident. The accident is not occurring. Maybe those living in the US and the terrorist attack and all that, right? You are not living it, but anytime you heard boom, your heart just sunk down, sinks, and like, whoa, what's going on? Whenever you see a car, 2 cars coming and all that, you feel like something is going to happen. Post-traumatic stress disorder, like you have been raped before, you have not made terms with it. So whenever you see somebody, a man getting close to you, you feel like that is going to happen. So you don't go to hotel rooms alone. You can't sleep alone. Even when you want to shut your eyes, it becomes a problem. You can't do meditation. Those who do yoga, you can't do yoga. Because anytime you close your eyes, you get to picture, you get to see everything, and that interferes with your life. That is why if you don't take care, it's going to land you into serious depression. And you know, depression, the end result is mostly suicide. Most people try to take their life because they hear voices. So it's quite important. So how to cope with traumatic stress disorder? First of all, you need to lean on loved ones. You have to lean on loved ones. So coming to church, if you ever had experience, you lean on loved ones, that is, you open up. And you don't open up to just anybody, somebody you trust, and it's important to maybe visit what? You can go to the hospital. Our doctors also have training concerning counseling and all that. So you go there and tell them, it's not, I just want to talk to you, this. They'll just listen. Some are very patient. They will listen to you and maybe give you a referral to where you can go and get the attention that you need. So sometimes you need to talk to people. And it's not always necessary that you talk. You can just be around people and you feel that you are calm. Because me, when I was going through all those traumatic experience about my dad passing away, I realized that I was drawn mostly to the church. So Sunday, I'm there. Wednesday, I'm there. Even when they close, I'll be there. I always wanted to chat again. I'll be the last person to leave because when I'm around church activities and I'm busy going up and down, I don't get time to think and just have those thoughts. So it's best you be around people you love. Get your families, get your friends, get in contact with people, talk to people. Don't run away and hide yourself in a room. It's not going to help. And prioritize self-control. You have to control yourself because the mind is the most powerful organ in our body. It controls every aspect. If you want to speak, if you want to walk, everything, the mind controls it. So if you are able to tell your mind that this is what I want to do, you can give yourself therapy if you are a very strong-minded person. It's like you having addiction and you deciding that I'm not going to take this thing again. This is what does, you put measures in place because you know yourself more than the counselor you are going to. You know yourself more than the therapist you are going to. So if you are able, if you are the strong type that you can tell yourself that this is what is happening to me, and I'm going to weep over it, I'm going to mourn over it, I'm going to tell my mind that it's okay. I should let it go, and life must move on. The mind is going to accept it and help you to move on. Then we are going to talk about the self-care. You should care for yourself. You know, if you have depression, traumatic stress, post-traumatic stress disorder, all that, it's all about you taking care of your body. One thing is, what you give the body is what it produces back to you. So if you are not sleeping, you need to sleep. You don't have any night person, you are not a bat. Sleep. All those words are words we just say to just make our uncomfortable situations look normal. Our abnormal situations look normal. It's not normal. So you need rest from 7 to 9 hours of rest. So don't tell yourself, be there from 12, you go to bed 12 o'clock, then 3, you are up, still WhatsApping, calling people, watching Netflix and all that. You are not a superwoman. Your body is going to break down. So you need to take care of your body. You need to eat right, because the right nutrients is going to help you. Don't starve yourself, because the mind needs what? Nutrients, right, to be able to function well. And how God created the mind is, the mind, no matter what nutrients you need, the body is going to take care of the mind before the other parts. Even if the other parts will shut down, the body is going to take care of what? The mind. That's how God created it, because it's the mind that is going to control everything. So the body takes care of the mind first before any other organ. So you need to eat right. You need to exercise. You see, the more you exercise, the more tired you become. When you go to bed after bath, you will sleep. No matter how nice, you just don't want to sleep. You sleep. So you must eat right, exercise, and exercise also what? Unclog your mind. You think more clear when you have what? Finished exercising, when you finish a marathon and everything. You see how, after showering and everything, you see how relaxed you are. So the mind is able to process a lot of information if you are very calm. Then we talk about cognitive therapy. That is when you go for counseling. We have various degrees of counseling. We have the relationship and marriage. We have people who are into psychological therapists, cognitive therapists. That is, they use the mind to heal you. As I said, so they are going to help you to develop your mind so that it's able to identify what is not good, what is right, and be able to heal you. They have the somatic ones too, that uses the body and yoga and all other things to heal you. But the underlying factor is you need to talk to somebody. You can't handle it alone. So most of our church pastors have gone through counseling. And if you think that the service the person is providing you is not still okay, you can ask the person to refer you. They can refer you, or you can just get, you go to the counseling sector, Ghana Psychology Council, they can give you therapists who are going to help you to come out of what you are doing. But in all things, you must look to yourself first. And know that everything happens in our life for a reason. Sometimes it's our own making that thing happened. But you learn the lesson from it and move on with your life. You don't get stuck in the past, that is depression. And you don't get you don't anxious. You don't run into the future and become anxious. But try to live in the present, which is a gift to you. Please, any questions and contribution? The floor is open. Yes.
Very much. I don't know, maybe I get to talk about what I'm about to say. But I'm using myself as an example. I don't know where I fall, but almost 8 years ago I lost my dad. And 3 years after I lost my mom. And it was very difficult, because they've been my main support for since birth, and losing them became very hectic. It was difficult for me to move on. And by God's grace, I can see things are better, and I think I've embraced it. But I realized this thing about me. These days, I see something very sad, very emotional, and I don't shed tears. I lose a loved one, I see somebody in a very bad state, previously I would have cried, I would have, like, I'll be sorrowful. But these days, it's no more. I see it as normal. If somebody goes, oh, have you heard this? Oh, this person is gone. Or this person is dead. I'll say, oh, sorry. Oh. But initially, it'll be a big blow. But now, no. I don't know where that's the category that will fall under. I don't know if it's also, it's still trauma. I mean, I don't know. I just want to know more about it. And the second question is about, you mentioned that we should talk, we should have people we talk to, people we trust. But I know somebody, the person doesn't talk. The person feels talking about issues is not going to solve the problem. So the person harbours everything. And you get to talk to the person to open up to people he or she can trust. But the person is still adamant. The person feels no matter your problems, you just go to God. Nobody, like, I don't know if you get me.
Yeah.
So with such a person, how can I help that person? Thank you.
You're welcome. You see, I can relate to what you were saying, the first one. When, up to now, I'm having issues myself. You see, therapy, it's a process. So it will take a long time. Sometimes people, 1 month, they are okay. But some people, depending on how severe the situation is, it takes a while. Like as we are saying, me, if a church member passed away, everybody will be shedding tears, but I don't cry about that. It's the little things that make me sad. Like you saying something that is shouting on me. But when I hear somebody passing away, going to the hospital and all this, like, you see, it's because you have witnessed it firsthand. You have had experience with how a loved one can be taken away. So the empathy in you is low. The empathy in you, how to empathize with people, it's low. So it's going to take time for you to feel as you were. Some people never felt that again, but deep within you, you are sorry for the person. You are very sad, but you can't weep. Like me, I can't come to your funeral and weep again.
Yeah.
I see dead bodies, nothing moves me. Like, because I've seen my dad being there, I've seen them wearing him. So when I see you, it's like, and when you talk to me about certain things you are going through and all that, working hard and all that, I say, like, chill, and yours is cool. You get it? It takes time and true counseling and all that before you start to feel that empathy, to show it. But people around you might think that you are hard, but you are not. So you must use your words to comfort people. Not only through tears. The tears will take long to flow, but use your words to comfort people. And it's normal. Losing a dad and losing a mom, it's a big blow. So it will take time for your how to empathize with people to come through. And the second one, people who internalize everything. There are people who are prone towards suicide because they don't talk about issues. And when you talk to them, they say that go to God in prayer. The truth is, it's not everything that I come to God in prayer. What humanity can do, divinity will not interfere. So sometimes you need to talk to somebody. You are going through, your spouse is taking you through hell. You just don't pray about it. You need somebody. Maybe one suggestion is going to unlock all what is going on. So if you have such a person, you continue to talk to them. You see, they listen to you. Communication is two-way. So if you are talking and they are not giving you feedback, you continue to give the person reassuring. Continue to tell the person how you feel. Continue. It will get to a time they'll also come to accept it and what? Talk back. And you know that it's also about temperament. We have temperaments who are that time. They try to hold everything in, and one of their weaknesses is the suicide, and they're feeling they are not good enough. And they hide it around the Bible, religious things, and give you all that quotation. So you should be, you should just continue talking to the person and giving the person suggestions. And sometimes the person does not want to talk to you, but the person can open up to somebody else. So you just help the person to open up with somebody else. Maybe the person does not trust you that much, but if they meet somebody they trust, somebody they connect with, they may be able to unburden themselves and have a burden A burden share is a burden. Yes. Household. Please, any other question? Yes, Miss Anka.
She asked if that's also trauma, like you not having empathy when you see other people going through.
I think we are not different from most of us. Things have been, most of us, I think even sometimes things you can do, when you see others unable to do, you think they are soft. Or you think, I can even say lazy, especially if you have to work. Or if, like a mother, the way you wash, clean, maybe on a Sunday, that's what you can do. When you meet somebody who can't do that, then you tend to think maybe they are lazy, or I'm just using that as an example. But with your experience, what I know is that when you go through traumatic situations, it leaves you with an empathy impairment. So you are not so much empathic about what you have been through that somebody is now going through. So it's some form of impairment you have based on.
No, you feel like when it happens, you feel sad.
You feel sad, but you can't verbalize it. You can't weep, but deep inside,
You are hurt.
you are hurt.
You feel for the person. You feel the person is going through what you went through, but
So mostly you like to sit by them and just keep quiet.
yes, and just keep quiet and give them space.
Yes.
Yes.
Because you have been there, you know
You've
how.
been there.
But you making it for people to see, the appearance is what you like. But deep inside, you are even more sad than those crying, and yeah, it takes time.
Is it usually the case that you remember what you have been
No,
through?
it's not about you remembering what you've been through. Maybe let's say somebody loses a mom, or maybe you lose an auntie. Maybe through the same sickness, or maybe something, an accident or something. And then you see, the thing is sad. It's very sad. Maybe they spent lots of money, and the whole, it's very sad, but you don't get to find the right words to tell these people. You don't get to show your emotions. Like,
It's internalized.
Yes. Previously, you would have cried with them. Previously, you would have, like, you talk along with them, like when they are talking about this time around, you don't know how to show it. You just keep
You see,
quiet.
because
No,
of the
they are going
experience that
through- yes.
you had, you become emotionally matured around people. So when people are crying and wailing, you are rather quiet, and sometimes everybody will leaving you there. Just giving your shoulders for the person to cry, like, oh, a baby, it's okay, a baby. You don't show, but you become mature with things. Because sometimes, that's what I said, that maturity is not just about age. Some people, they are very young, but what they have gone through, you become mature. So what somebody will see and be wailing and shouting, you rather take it cool. So become the cool head. So if the person needs help, you be the right person to follow, to help them to arrange things, because you are cool and you know what the person is going through. But with time, you also be okay, but you can't cry us, because you know how you have been there.
Sorry, I have a question based on what you're asking. I want to know if empathy is always being showing some kind of emotion or showing a sorrowful face. Is that empathy? Like something happening, the way they are saying they internalize it. Is empathy only when you show a sorrowful face to somebody?
No, but you see, our culture is such a way that we rather mark empathy with showing, but empathy is much more like you being there for the person, giving the person a shoulder to cry on. Not just about you wailing and talking. And mostly, if somebody is breathing, you crying and wailing and giving the person a long speech does not help. All what the person needs is a shoulder to cry on. You just be quiet. Don't go and preach sermons to the person, because the person can't relate to you.
And then my main question is, you spoke about leaning on loved ones as a way of coping with trauma. The question I want to ask, there's a saying, our loved ones are the ones that hurt us the most. And you know, every secretive person has somebody he confides in. And that person you are confiding in also has somebody he also confides in you. So you are in this situation, and then the person that you confide in, you go and speak about the situation to the person. And by the time you know, the third person, who is also your friend, is talking to you about the situation that you think your friend is the only one that you have shared with. So in this situation, trying to lean on loved ones and knowing the repercussions that comes with it, how do we?
Yeah, if you listen carefully, I said lean on loved ones. It doesn't mean you should go and open up to loved ones. Lean on them is derive comfort from them. I will be going through a lot of emotional stress, but when I come to you, I will not discuss about that. But because you are my friend, like Devlin, we'll talk and laugh and everything. So my stress, my trauma is down. And one thing is, it's not everybody that you open up to. You must weigh the person. Is the person trustworthy? Because you don't want your issues to be what's out there. Please, you understand? So leaning on loved one is you not secluding yourself from people, but rather be with people who care about you. Be with them. If it's church, don't run away from the church, that the church is going to what? The church is going to see you as sinful. No, you should rather be with them, because you see, home is where the heart is. Whatever happens, it's home that we run to. It's loved one that we derive comfort from. So you need not to open your mouth. And people who are mature, they will not even force you to talk. They will leave you, they will allow you to be. Whenever you feel like talking, they will be there to give you what? A listening ear. So lean on loved ones is don't seclude yourself. Don't think that it's the loved one that matters now. Because somebody who loves you will understand your quietness more than somebody who is out there.
I understand, but some of the situations that we find ourselves in, probably you have harbored it for so long, and you need someone to talk to.
So talk to a counselor.
Talk to
a counselor. Have a lot of counselors around. Book a session with them. Go and talk whatever you want to say. They'll have time. It's their job. They will charge you session. You pay. You can talk. She will take notes and everything. When you finish, okay, this is what you said. Okay, if you want anything, they can give you guidelines. Counselors are not there to give you solutions. They are not magicians. They just give you guidelines. Help you to see what you are doing clearly. So you can have people who come, they'll just come and sit and talk about what their wives are doing to them. You give them solution, they'll go, they'll not do it. But they just want somebody to talk to. You get it? So if you want to talk, get a counselor. And counselors, we are backed by law, right? It's a legal thing, so you can't disclose anything. Whatever you say stays. Your note is just going to give to the next counselor who is going to occupy the place. And if the person dies, every note and everything is being taken away. Unless it's judiciary, it's a legal thing that you need to bring for them to work in court before they can bring the notes that we take. So anything you tell a counselor, when the police come and ask them without the legal document, they can't give it out. So if you have anything, just check a counselor. Pastor Selom is also a counselor. You can go to him and talk to him. At a fee. So you go and talk, you pay.
I just want to add or throw more light on what you said. It's linked to my second question, where people don't usually go out and talk. You see, it's because of like these fears. Yes, but some people, it's not about the counselors. They feel they can't trust anybody, not even the counselors.
That is an issue with the person. The person is having trust issues, and it's part of traumatic disorders. They don't trust anybody except themselves. And this one, you need to trust somebody. When you go to the hospital, you need to trust the doctor to give you what? Yes, medication. You need to trust your wife, that the wife is not going to poison you. So such people, they are always doing double check, cross check, double check. And it's not helping. They need somebody. So such a person, just talk to a certified professional counselor, not just any counselor, because some counselors will come and sit on television and be using your case study to, right? Just talk to somebody you trust. Any other question or contribution? Today we are talking about trauma, and I'm saying we, not I, because a lot of us have had experience with trauma, whether acute, chronic, or complex.
Yeah, I want to talk about my own too. I had a very dear auntie who she was my mother, my everything. The day I heard of her death, it was a shock to me. And during the funeral, I couldn't cry. After 1 year, when we visited her grave, that's when I started crying. Then from that period, the little thing that happens to me, then I remember her and I started crying. And if my auntie was there, like I could have talked to her. Nobody would understand me. It's like I had that trauma for almost about 3 years. But when I sat down, I was like, the person is dead and gone. Why am I troubling myself? Let me just create own world and just move on with my life. It was not easy, but if you accept yourself and like the person is gone and gone for good, you'll be fine.
Yeah, so you did an individual therapy for yourself. That is good. We are talking about trauma. And another thing is exams. We have a lot of events, like exams. You were thinking you pass. WASSCE, BECE, you were expecting 9-1s or whatever. It came and like your other colleagues did well. Your grade wasn't good. The preferred school, your Wesley girls and all that, you never had it. You need to go to a school that is less. So when it's intercolleges and others, you don't even participate. You are always there. It's all trauma. We go through trauma every day, but how we handle it, how we come up out of it, is what is important. You encountering trauma, sometimes you have no control over it. Like accidents, like losing a loved one, you have no control over it. So you going through trauma is not something that you should be